celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Toll free to the dream team here at Animal Radio. The groomer, the vet, the animal communicator, Ladybug, the studio stunt, dog's even taking a few calls.
Actually, she left the studio.
Where did she go?
I don't know. She never leaves the studio. I don't know where she went.
Strange, very strange. Something's going on here.
Something's up.
I know she.
Well, if it's like what you did to my pets when you were talking about medical marijuana a couple of weeks ago, my dogs went out and got their card, and they're smoking pot all over the house. And you know what? I think it's a gateway drug. Pretty soon they'll be doing cocaine and other things.
I'm worried
all
about
because
that.
of Animal Radio.
I'm worried about
that. So I think maybe that's where Ladybug sneaked off to.
Well, coming from a guy who got poison ivy. And that, of course, being Joey Villani, came in this morning and asked if I would kiss his boo-boo.
He was tricking you.
Usually it's the ring I kiss. This week it's the boo-boo I had to kiss. And how did you even get this poison ivy?
From grooming a dog. Grooming a dog, they came in and they warned me about it, and I should have known better, because this is about the fourth time I think it's happened to me from a grooming. So we're going to talk about that today.
Well, that's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. Who else do we have on the show today? I can't see that far. Over $3 billion in electronics are damaged every year by dogs and animals.
Yes, if you have one of these animals that destroys your electronics, you better get insurance.
They had some interesting.
It's going to be like the dog that ate your homework, though. You know, don't you think this is going to be an excuse? Oh, my stereo broke. Oh, look at the cord.
For $3 billion?
That's huge.
A year, I
guess
know.
Most of it is in smartphones, and looking for the details, I have them around here somewhere. But she'll be on with us in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. And we go to Cass. Hey,
yes.
How are you doing, Cass?
I'm doing fairly well.
Where are you calling from today?
Pennsylvania.
Lovely Pennsylvania. What's going on? I have the whole dream team here to help you.
Well, me and my boyfriend are splitting up. We've lived together 3 years, but we have two dogs. One's a year-old Tuesday, and one's 2 years old last month. I don't know if we should split the dogs up. If I leave them in their home that they've grown up in. If I take them both with me. I'm at a loss.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I can tell you, as far as a lot of folks have concern over what's going to be the best thing for the pet, and that is at least how I might advise you is to really, it can be challenging. We have to replace ourselves out of the situation and look at the pet's psychological and physical needs. And for me, you know, I can't tell you what you need to do, but I can tell you what things I do advise folks to look at are going to be the ability to provide time for the pets, schedule, you know, who has the resources, the housing that's going to be most compatible for the pets. And then we also have to look at the relationship of the dogs together, you know, if they're very bonded together, or if, hey, when one of them's away, they can manage and get along fine, and, you know, they're good if they go on trips without the other dog, or what have it be. But those are the things that we would look at to make that decision. And I don't think anyone feels good about this decision. You know, you're in a tough spot. And the important thing that for the pet's well-being and their mental health is that we really just kind of want to keep the drama out of their lives as much as possible, because we can get more behavioral issues, anxiety problems when either they sense our problems or when we start to make some greater welcomes. And I'll give you an example. I had a dear client of mine years ago who had an older dog who they separated, and the older dog spent 1 week with one owner, 1 week with the next owner, and it went really well in most regards. However, when she got older and she started to develop some cognitive problems, some senility problems, it became very taxing on the dog to reacclimate to the households when she switched from one home to the other. So you have to kind of look at that and how the pet rebounds when they leave one household and return to another. But as the pet parents, the important things also is to not, you know, to be adults. And when you do have a household that you share custody, to not have a lot of drama about the greeting. So you might say, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Glad to see you come back to mama for a while. But that actually can make them, just like a dog who has separation anxiety, those really over-exuberant greetings and departures can actually make them more amped up in the future for both a departure and for returning to the home. So those kind of things you just kind of have to keep in mind if you're going to do a shared custody kind of arrangement. But, I don't know. You got young dogs, so they would be resilient, and as long as they're in good health, I think you guys got to just discuss among yourself who wants the care of the dogs, what their needs are going to be, and who can best suit that. So I don't know if anyone else has anything to add to that.
My dogs, I know I couldn't separate them. Whether my wife or myself had them, I know we would both give them, really good care, but they wouldn't be happy. They're the four of them together are bonded. When one leaves, they seem to look for the one that's not in the house. If it was me, I would keep them together, and I'll take what Dr. Deb says. Definitely, whoever would be the better care provider, whether that be your boyfriend or you, I would keep both of them together with one person. I think it's important, especially if they grew up together. It's almost like separating a family in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually staying together with my wife for the animals, and
I thought about that. I did consider that. Let's just be roommates.
Let's ask the animals what's going on. Joy, what are the animals saying?
Hi, and Cass, I'd like to know both dogs' names, please.
Da Vinci and Luca.
Da Vinci and Luca. Animal communicator Joy Turner looking into doing whatever she does, the magic she does.
Well, what I'm doing is, first of all, saying hello to them. And then I'm saying to them, do they realize that their mom and dad are having trouble getting along? And, of course, they both do. And so I want to also, because to me it's very important to explain to them what's happening, because so many times when I'm communicating with animals, when their people are splitting, they think it's their fault. It's just like human children.
Oh.
You have to explain to them that it's you two, it's not them. And then explain things like, you're going to be living in separate houses, and what I'm asking them is if they had to choose which place they lived in, what would they want to do? And of course they both tell me that they're familiar with where they are, but they're really concerned about hurting someone's feelings, which also is another thing I find very, very often. So they would be happy with whatever arrangements you two would be happy about, because their choice would be based on how you two are going to feel best. Does that make sense, Cass?
Yes, it does.
They do have a question. They want to know if they get to see the other one.
Will there be
The one
custody?
they live with.
We're close by each other, so I would think that would be fair to say yes to. The older one, Da Vinci, I think is probably way more attached to me.
Da Vinci says he would agree that he is more attached to you in many ways, but he's just really wanting to not rock the boat.
There you go. Well, there you have 4 or 5 different opinions there. And Ladybug, did Ladybug want to chime in? She's not going to take sides on... Okay. Hopefully we've helped you, Cass, a little bit, or we've made it harder. I don't know.
I'm not quite sure yet either. I'll let it soak in.
Okay. Good luck on that. Thanks for calling.
I appreciate. Thank you.
Call for Dr. Debbie on line 4. No, let's go to line 5. Okay, we've given line 5 no attention today. Sean, how are you doing?
Yeah, I've got a dog problem.
Okay.
I've got a Chinese pug. Getting eyesight's getting real bad. I just kind of wondering. I ain't a doctor, but looking at it, it looks like cataracts. Is there anything they can do for that, or?
Potentially. And I guess the first thing is that when we have a color change to a dog's eyes and they're starting to turn cloudy and kind of white, a lot of times we just kind of logically think they're cataracts, but it's not always the case. So the first thing that I would do is I would certainly want to take a look at your doggy's eyes, because we can have cataracts form with age. Sometimes even things like diabetes will cause cataracts. But in some cases, we truly can just get an aging in the lens of a dog's eye, what we call lenticular sclerosis. And it's just an aging change. So it isn't always something that is really severe for their vision. And you can even in some breeds see some corneal disease that makes the eye kind of white. And it's a different area of the eye. So it definitely, I'd say, start with a vet exam. Let's take a peek at the eye, because that, for me, makes a big difference in what we do. And if we do find that your dog has cataracts, there are some things to do. One is, yes, there is surgery. We can have those removed. It's generally done with veterinary veterinary ophthalmologists. But even short of removing cataracts, there's a lot we can do medically to help manage that. And anytime I have a diagnosis of a cataracts, I always want to do a diabetic screening on that pet. So if you have a dog with cloudy eyes and you haven't had them checked at the vet, that is definitely going to get those car keys in your hand and get a reason to get that pet checked out. But for some pets with cataracts, with time, they may adjust. If they lose their vision with that, they can get along okay. But we don't tell people to ignore cataracts because there can be some problems that occur besides the vision loss. And that is what we call lens-induced uveitis. So cataracts leak a type of protein into the eye, and that can cause inflammation, which can cause pain, and can really make a pet very miserable. So if we have cataracts, in many cases, I will put a pet on a topical anti-inflammatory to keep that in check, keep those pets comfortable, and, then monitor their vision. If there's any other problems where the lens slides out of position and luxates out, then we may talk more surgery and things like that. But definitely, there are certainly things to do. Now, I am not a fan of those supplements that'll say they'll restore vision, remove cataracts. That's just a bunch of hooey in my mind, so don't fall into that. Let's get these eyes checked out. Sometimes we'll do what we call a cotton ball test at home. So if you cover one of your dog's eyes and you throw a cotton ball horizontally in front of their eyes, if they notice it and they watch it going by them, then we still have some vision in that eye. If they're not seeing that, then that's going to be something that we really want to check that pet out, see if we've got advanced cataracts or maybe some other causes of vision loss there.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Don't forget, you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. It's made possible by Fear Free, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfree.com to find care near you.
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process, cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
This is
Animal Radio.
Stacy, looks like you're working hard. What's going on?
Did you know that there's about 850 chimps that are used in U.S. laboratories every year, and they're used for research? The only reason they do that is because they are similar to humans. I mean, look over at Hal.
Wait a second there.
He's kind of skinny to be a chimp. Nah, he doesn't really. You probably weren't evolved from the chimp. Something else.
Well, thanks.
I don't know. Ostriches, maybe, or something.
Giraffe?
But not Joey. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I know you guys are throwing things at me right now. The new guidelines are going to mean, though, that 300 of those 850, they're going to be retired. And I don't know if they get 401k plans or what, but they're not going to be used for research any longer, which is good news. They're starting to look at the ethical considerations of chimps. I'll tell you about it coming up.
Well, it's about time.
Get those chimps out of those labs.
Hey, Debbie.
Hi.
How are you? Where are you today?
Well, at this moment, I'm going around Cincinnati. Number one, I have two questions. Number one is I have a PGV. She's 10 years old. I took her to the vet for she had an ear infection. I happened to mention I thought maybe she might have a urinary tract infection because she had gone in the house twice a week, and she's housebroken. She's 10 years old. It has to be something going on. But she ran all kinds of blood tests and all that on her, and everything came back fine. I did get something for her ear infection, but she also told me that her urine was a little watery.
And she said the next time I brought her back, if I wanted, we could do a blood test on her kidneys. Now, my question is might this be the beginning of kidney failure?
Okay. Now, I want to back up first and foremost because you used an abbreviation that might have some people scratching their heads. You said you have a PBGV, right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's a kind of a unique breed, a Petite Basset Griffon, right?
Yes.
The Vandine, right. It's a French breed, so I don't know if Hal and Judy, if you guys heard about this breed. Hula is very special. But very cool. Don't see many of those out in practice, so that's very lovely. So now I want to clarify also, you had some urine tests. Now, did they test her blood when you initially had that visit?
Yes, they tested it for thyroid, diabetes, I don't know, it was like $400 in there that day.
Well, you hope the kidneys are included in there. Goodness. All right, because I just want to make sure, because definitely if we have a pet with a dilute urine, the first thing is definitely we want to check those kidneys, and there's some basic urine tests that we would do. The BUN and creatinine are some of the basic chemistries that we would look at on a chem profile. Those are the first things that speak to us about the kidney function. So not sure where your pets were originally, but if it wasn't done or it wasn't included in that, then definitely I would encourage you to have that done, because it's very important to look at that if we've got dilute urine. The other thing we'll look for, other signs of either kidney disease or infection, and we can do that with some special urine tests where we can check the protein in the urine and compare that to other analogs in the urine, and that helps us to give us a suspicion of, do we have that road of kidney disease? We need to go hunting and do more involved testing like ultrasounds or x-rays or what have you. And then certainly, even if we don't see anything in the urine, but we are having urinary signs, I'll culture urine because we don't always see bacteria in a sample, and there can be infection in that urinary tract. So that might be something to, unfortunately, more tests. I'm sure you want to hear that right now. But that would be, a realistic way to kind of make us feel better. Do we have something in this urinary tract we have to worry about? After that's all kind of satisfied and we hopefully look good in that department, then we might look at other things. And I've had a couple patients where we can have a condition of diabetes insipidus. It's not terribly common. It's not your regular diabetes, but it's a type of diabetes that affects their concentration of urine, and they actually produce large amounts of very dilute urine. It takes a little special testing for that as well, but that's something else to look at. And in some cases, I eliminate all the other things that will influence a watery urine. So some dogs will tank up on pool water. Some pets drink a lot of water out of just what we call a psychogenic problem, where they drink excessive amounts. And then we look at any medicines or things like that that might be causing an increased thirst. So that's where the sleuth work in veterinary medicine comes into play. And that's when our job gets really interesting, when we're trying to piece together not only lab tests, but also things that go on in the house or in your pet's life. Kind of a roundabout answer to that, but I hope that gives you some confirmation that, yes, I would definitely look into those kidneys more. And you had a second question?
People are going to think I'm crazy, but my other dog is a English Mastiff, and she is 3 years old. I do want to have one litter of puppies, and I just want to experience one litter with her, and then I will have her spayed. But my question is, do they, when they come in heat, do they experience stomach cramps, moody, lethargic, like
do
we
they have PMS? Do dogs have PMS? What a great question. We'd have to say some of that we honestly do not know. There are some dogs that I do feel have some mild diarrhea around the time that they're in heat, and they can have some behavioral changes. So it is certainly realistic to expect they have some of the physical changes. I don't know if they're as moody as we women can take the blame for being, because I always feel that dogs are much sturdier than us humans when it comes to pain and emotions. They take the cake. They really are much tougher that way. So hard to say about that, but I'm going to also go back, Debbie, and say that I am not a fan of breeding just for the experience of breeding. And I always tell folks that have families or children, when they say the kids want to see babies be born and they want to have puppies, you know what I say? I sign them up to go to the shelter and to walk dogs. And when those dogs are gone the next week because they're euthanized, for me, that is a life-changing experience. My lecture for the day.
I would love to go on vacation, but I don't want to leave our Charlie behind.
I agree. I heard that the magazine Fido Friendly lists places where you can stay with your pet. They also offer reviews so you have an idea about pet policy to include any restrictions, fees, and what pet amenities to expect.
That's, dare I say, awesome. What are we waiting for?
I'm way ahead of you. I just logged on to FidoFriendly.com and found a 4-star resort. Hilton Santa Fe Resort and Spa at Buffalo Thunder in New Mexico.
Charlie agrees. When do we leave?
As soon as you can pack your bags. It's off to adventure with Charlie, thanks to Fido Friendly Magazine. To find your next family adventure that includes your furry family friend, log on to FidoFriendly.com.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Rusty, the little red panda, finally back at the National Zoo after he made a break for it. Zoo officials say Rusty was recovered in the Washington, D.C. area after somebody called and said the animal was nearby. Dr. Brandy Smith, who's in charge of the little red panda, said that Rusty was hiding in a tree when the zookeepers arrived. And they say Rusty's keepers were able to get him down. They just called his name, and then he went right into his little crate. He was taken to the zoo's vet hospital as a precaution. The zoo hasn't determined yet if the panda escaped or if he was taken. He was missing for a scary 24 hours. A racing pigeon from Japan's getting used to his new home after he went 5,000 miles off course. He wound up in Vancouver, Canada. Maj Birch, founder of the Mountaineer Avian Rescue Society, told ABC News the wayward bird showed up in British Columbia last week, emaciated and dehydrated. Birch explained that they eventually learned the pigeon embarked on a 600-mile race on a northern Japanese island back in May. But the journey apparently wasn't long enough for this particular bird, who instead chose to fly across the Pacific Ocean. I wonder if he was just making a getaway. Birch and his team got the phone number for the pigeon's owner from a tag on the bird's leg. The owner says he was relieved to find out the bird was still alive, pointing out that he must be a superior pigeon. Nevertheless, he chose to let that bird stay in Canada to spare him the stress of making another ocean crossing. Well, if you thought the now extinct 9-patty Wendy's T-Rex burger was excessive, wait till you hear about the Guinness Book of World Record winner for the largest item on any menu in the world. According to Food Beast, the dish in question as a whole is a roasted camel. You heard me right. Stuffed with lamb, which is stuffed with chicken, which is stuffed with fish or eggs. And who knows what that stuff was after that. The giant meal is prepared by the Bedouin, and they typically make the camel feast for weddings and other parties. Sounds good. I wonder what camel tastes like. I know what you're going to say. Just like chicken, right? Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, earning the title of the world's ugliest dog, give it up for Wally.
Wally is a mutt from Chico, California. He's taken the reins as the world's ugliest dog. He's part boxer, part beagle, and part basset hound. He won the title in Petaluma because of his huge head, short, thick legs, and he has kind of like duck feet. Wally's owner wins $1,500 and, of course, will be making all the TV rounds. Actually, between you and me, Wally was not so ugly. I have a dog that looks just like him. The feet just hang out. They're very cute. Anyway, I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, it's Alan Cable, and we're talking about dogs. I'm going to give you a little project. I want you to watch your dog for a week. His body language, the way he moves, his energy level. Is he calm and happy or wound up and manic? Watch your dog as much as you can for an entire week. Just observe your dog's behavior and then really think before you react. I'll give you an example. I was in the dog park just yesterday. A woman with a smaller dog is walking. Her dog barks at just about every single dog and just lays into this bigger dog. The bigger dog is calm and relaxed relaxed and pretty much just wants to say hi, do a little sniffing around. You know, you can observe the different energy. One dog, very nervous, very afraid, manic, anxious, fearful. The other dog, calm, relaxed, la-di-da. What do you think her response was? Well, she immediately snatches the dog up, is holding the dog, going, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Now, that would be the perfect thing to do if the dog were human, but it's a dog. So what do you think the dog gets from that? He's acting crazy and gets affection. So that tells him it's a good thing he's acting like that. She's reinforcing it. It also tells the dog, yes, there is something to be afraid of, and you're right to be afraid. The best thing to do since the dog's on a leash is just turn around and walk the other way. If you can't do that, you get out in front of the dog to show him you're in charge and you're going to protect him. You're the pack leader. This is assuming, of course, the dog that he's afraid of is mellow. You don't want to get in the middle of two insane dogs. Now, you also give your dog a correction to refocus his mind. Little jolt of the leash, little hand signal, and you do it over and over again until the dog starts to understand that that behavior is the wrong behavior. When the dog is mellow, you say, good dog. The more in charge you are, the more calm you are, the more calm your dog's gonna be. Dogs are like kids. They need boundaries, and you're the only one who can show them what they are. But you can't do it with words. You've got to do it with body language and corrections and a composed, calm self. And don't forget the praise. So go out there and watch some dogs. Watch yours. See if you can figure out what your dog is saying. And before you act, think about the message it's sending the dog.
Hi, I'm Ed Asner. You're on Animal Radio. Spay or neuter your animals, you dummies.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
What's going on in your world? What can we help you with?
Oh, I had a little chihuahua. I had her for over 5 years, and I just she's better than Mountain, but she do everything I tell her. But we hustle every morning, and like she thinks she can play with everybody. And I don't like her for playing with everybody, you know, because they stole her once. And I be wanting her to warn me if somebody walk up on me while I'm hugging, but everybody walk up, she thinks she's supposed to play with them. Every dog you see, she thinks she's supposed to play with them because she's too friendly. I want to know what can I do to stop her from that, because I can't watch her myself because I stay by myself.
She's too friendly? Your dog is too friendly?
Yeah, she like to play with every dog, the poor dog, and they be aggressive. Sometimes the guy be walking with two, and he can hardly hold them. I know they kill her because she's too small.
Right,
so want to play, and they be trying to fight.
Well, it actually looks like she wants to play, but what she's probably doing is instigating those two dogs to get them all riled up and even more crazy.
Them big dogs don't like them little dogs anyway.
Well, you know,
they be wanting to play, but they be ready to kill.
You're so funny, buddy. What I would do is turn the opposite direction and start walking away, you know. But as with all dogs and all dog training, the key is you. You know, the key to getting your dog to behave the way you want your dog to behave is you being a great teacher. And the way to teach your dog is not with words. You've got to use corrections and you've got to use rewards. And that's the only way to do it. There is no quick fix. So if you don't like your dog, walking up and instigating bigger dogs, if your dog is on a leash, you just got to turn real swiftly the opposite direction and start walking and give her a correction, a jolt, and go, you know, and just walk the opposite direction.
But she just think everything she's supposed to play with.
Well, you're gonna have to correct her when she does behaviors you don't like, and you're gonna have to reward her when she does behaviors you do like, and that's the only way to do it. So every time your dog does something you don't like, you have to give her a little correction, like a little jolt at the leash, and say, or make a sound, whatever that is.
And sometimes if she's doing I'll stomp my feet and she give my attention, she behave.
Hey, Alan, I missed. What kind of breed of dog did he say?
She's a Chihuahua. She's a Chihuahua.
Really, she's a miniature dog Mackenzie. I just call her Chihuahua because she's little.
Oh,
she's a miniature dog Mackenzie.
Yeah, she's
I'm always
a real
happy
sweet
to.
dog.
I'm happy to see those kind of dogs that are really friendly and happy and good with people. I think that's a great trait to have because that breed, I think, has a tendency to not be always so nice with strangers. So in my world, I'd be thrilled with that, and I'd welcome your puppy in my office.
I am. I just don't like her to be playing with everybody.
Well, again, buddy, you have got to change the behavior. Nobody can do it for you. And you've got to come up with a way to translate to your dog.
Some advice, that's all. Because she listens to everything what I say, but I just wonder what could I do.
All right, here's what you can do. Here's what you can do. Is your dog on a leash? You have her on a leash all the time?
Oh, yeah, I keep a leash with me all the time.
All right. So your dog is on the leash, and you're walking down the street, and there's two dogs acting. Right? And no, you got to hold the leash. Don't hook it to your pants. You got to hold it, okay? And you've got to have a little choker chain on her, just a little choker chain on her. And when you're walking down the street, and there's two dogs acting like lunatics, and your dog starts to act like a lunatic, you give her a little jolt with your wrists. Turn and walk the opposite direction very quickly. And that's what you do. That's a correction. And you do it every time she does a behavior you don't like. And when she starts behaving the way you do want her to behave, which is calm, you say, good dog, and you give her a treat.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. There you go, buddy.
I mean, you learn a whole lot when you get old.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I say, don't care how old you learn a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, dogs are dogs and people are people, and the best thing we can do is learn how to think like a dog. And when you learn to think like a dog, everything goes wonderfully because they can't read our minds. They don't know what the word no means. They don't know what the sentences we're speaking are. So the less amount of talk you do, the better. You know, and try to watch your dog and figure out what your dog is thinking. There's so many signs.
Yeah, trust me, I know that, boy.
So when you see her getting into that manic state, correct her, refocus her mind.
Okay, but she's very mindable. I tell her to sit, lay down, stay there until I get back, or whatever. She'll be there until I get back. If nobody walk up and took her, they stole her one time and Sherry got her back from me. That's why I was talking about being friendly. See, I stay by myself. I can't pay attention to her and me and myself in the office at the same time.
That's you're doing good, buddy. It's just that one thing. You just got to teach her to just to not get riled up around riled up dogs, and that's not too difficult. It just takes persistence and it takes time.
Hey, thanks for your call, Charlie. Good luck with that. Let us know how that works out. Yeah, not a lot of people know that. That was the #1 disc jockey in Los Angeles doing morning drive, calling from the bowling alley. I have no idea what he said, and apparently you did, so that's good.
I got something out of it.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service. Better care. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Matthew, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. How are you all today?
Good, doing good. What's going on?
I got a question for Dr. Debbie about my 6-year-old male golden doodle. And,
okay.
What's that?
Oh, I was just going, aw.
He's a good boy. Love him. And what I really want is, I don't want to second guess my vet diagnosis, but I want to question his pain level. It's a question I forgot to ask the vet. He's recently come up intermittently lame in his left hind, and we sedated him and did some radiological, stuff, and his hip looks good. There's no signs of any bone cancers or growth or tumors, and no movement in his hips, no drawer signs in his knee. There's no signs of an arthritic condition, but she diagnosed acute arthritis. But his pain level it seems severe to me. Can the onset of arthritis cause, real severe pain in these guys?
Okay, I'm going to back up here a little bit. Now, you said on the x-rays they did not see any changes, but when we diagnose arthritis, generally off of an x-ray there's some changes where we go, ooh, look at all those little knobby things on the bones or on the joints, and that's a sign that it's kind of been a chronic osteoarthritis condition. Now, did they see anything like that?
No, she's seen no abnormalities, but she said it could be the beginnings of.
Okay.
And it just didn't sound right to me. And if there's no drawer sign, I guess, so there's no ACL rupture or anything like that, could there be other issues going on in his knees or hips that I should maybe go get a second opinion on?
Definitely. I mean, it's quite possible. And when we're talking about, just so I can explain for everyone else, drawer sign is a common kind of a test, a physical movement that veterinarians will do in generally a sedated pet. And we wiggle the knee, and we basically test for instability in the ligaments there. And one of the major support ligaments in the knee, called the cruciate ligament, when that's damaged or torn completely, there's some movement. It's kind of like a drawer that's kind of opening. So if they didn't see that, it's possible we could have, some maybe partial cruciate injuries that could cause a lot of knee pain and lameness and not show any kind of signs on x-rays or on that physical exam. As far as arthritis, I usually reserve that diagnosis to when we have chronic changes and where we can see radiographic evidence that there's some changes in the joints. So I might back up and say, we have an acute strain or sprain, or maybe we have something else going on, and that's very possible. As far as the physical exam, I think in this point would probably be the biggest thing that I would fall back on, and where their suspicions might lie, whether that's in the knee, the hip, or what have you. Now, did they put your baby on any medications of any sort?
Yeah, some Rimadyl, and she said that she wants to use it when the pain starts to flare up. I've had him on glucosamine chondroitin for about a year, just as a preventative. And it does show up when he does get very active. And sometimes it goes in a day, but it's coming on more often now. And the pain's lasting longer, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. And I guess I'm going to be a little wishy-washy, because I would like to say that, the physical tests support what you're seeing at home. And if it doesn't all fit, then I don't want to say your vet's wrong. But, I would definitely want to make sure that the signs of what you're seeing agree with what they're seeing and describing in the physical exam. And if not, the other thing is, a lot of times, my father's even guilty of this, anti-inflammatories in many cases work best when we do use them for a consistent period of time. So you can do that hit or miss treatment, but if we're having especially more established discomfort or lameness, it's better to use that for, of course, a period of time consistently, and you'll get better response with the inflammation as well as with the pet's comfort than just that once in a blue moon kind of thing. But if that therapy is not working, gosh, there's some other things you can look at getting into. If we have definite osteoarthritis, chronic changes, there are many foods that have glucosamine enhanced in there. There's a product called Adequan, which is an injectable formula that can be very nice in helping pets with arthritic pain. But usually arthritis is kind of that achiness, that slowness to get up, that I've overdone it, and I'm just having a rough time. If we have more acute pain, really more intense, then I really want to go back to that physical exam and look again.
Okay, yeah, because the pain just seems too intense to me to be the beginnings of arthritis, because when it gets really bad, he won't even put any weight on it. He'll hobble completely and hold his leg up.
Yeah, and how long ago were those x-rays?
3-4 days ago.
Oh, real recently. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And the Rimadyl's starting to work. I'm an over-the-road truck driver, so I've seen him go through this pain, but my wife tells me that, he is kind of hobbling around a little bit now, and he's feeling a little bit better, but, I don't want to see the little guy in pain.
Right. Oh, gosh, yeah. I mean, it's worse watching your pet in pain than going through it yourself. And I think anyone who listens to the show would agree with that. Oh, yeah.
I know not to overdo it, but there's no way to tell him not to overdo it. He's a really active guy, and he wants to jump down the stairs, chase rabbits in the backyard, and just go crazy. And, he doesn't quite get the fact that he's getting a little older and it's starting to affect him.
If I could get my word out to him and tell him to behave and be quiet while you're rehabilitating, then we'll go a long way there. But yeah, I feel your difficulty with that. That's tough to get him to quiet down. But yeah, if that's persisting, then I would certainly take another look there and see. And especially if we are worried about maybe a partial cruise ship that's thinking of doing something more significant down the road. So hope all turns out well there, and your lovely golden doodle is doing well. So have a great one. This is Dr. Debbie with Animal Radio.
With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Call us to get your Care Watch right now.
800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. 800-705-1198. That's 800-705-1198.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Big show today. We're talking to a lady who works for an insurance company. She says there's been over $3 billion worth of electronic devices damaged by our dogs and cats and animals, our companion animals.
In 1 year.
In 1 year. Is that it? 1 year? We're going to have to check on that and make sure that's right. That seems like a lot.
I know it does, but the electronics aren't cheap.
I'm
in there.
Are you?
I'm in there. Yeah, I am.
Have your animals ever damaged your devices?
The bird's the worst. The bird has destroyed one phone and at least 30 remotes, but that doesn't go on the insurance, but the phone did.
I hear about the remotes all the time. Yeah, people always calling in saying the remote's been buried or in the backyard. They found it after 3 years.
Passes in the poop, actually.
Have you seen that? What have you seen?
Oh, yes. I've taken x-rays, and you can see parts of the remote in the stomach. And we've had one where the dog vomited up pieces of it. The other one, it actually passed it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, that's...
We just wash it off and reuse it.
Ew.
How about you, Joy? Joy, have you had any of your electronic devices peed on, vomited on, destroyed, chewed?
I have to tell you, my kids are just the absolute most fabulous kids. They don't do things like that at all. But then bear in mind, I'm with them almost all the time, so they don't get bored. They don't get lonely. They don't get all those things a lot of animals do.
Now, do they know what you're thinking? Do they know that you know what they're thinking?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, sometimes they play little games and they think, well, I can think something and I can whisper it. My mom won't be able to hear me. But I keep saying, I'm sorry, honeys. I do get that.
The perfect dogs.
Yeah.
You're a little jealous.
Yes, I am.
Well, Joey, I can teach you, and then you can have a perfect dog, too.
Good luck on that one.
Yeah, I know. Just talk to Alan about that one.
Hey, Stace, what are you doing?
Have you heard about the Guinness Book of World Records winner for the largest item on any menu in the world? Oh, when I tell you this, it's hard to believe. You won't find it at a pig roast, though, that's for sure. You're not going to be able to find it on a spit. I don't think they could put it on a spit. They might be able to. You never know what they can do in Egypt. Hint, hint. Okay, I'll tell you about it coming up on Animal Radio News.
You're like shaking your head.
I know what it is.
About.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it took me a minute, but I figured it out.
We'll stick around for that. Let's head on over to Lucille. You know, there was a B.B. King song, Lucille. Was that written about you, Lucille?
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, where are you calling from today?
Calling from Burnville, Pennsylvania, near Reading. Listen to WEU.
Oh, they are such a great station. I love those guys over there. Well, tell us. What is going on? I have the Dream Team here to answer any of your questions.
Okay, I wanted to talk to Dr. Debbie, and I've had a cat, I guess, about 3 weeks now. He started with like 3 days of vomiting where he vomited up nothing but like white foamy saliva. He wouldn't eat, barely would drink. So I took him to the vet, and they did an X-ray, and they thought they seen a blockage. So they did exploratory surgery, and they found nothing. They said there was a little bit of hard poop in the bowel, but nothing that would have caused this problem. So they sent him home. After he got home, he had the same problem, took him back in again. So they put him on a pill for nausea, and they put him on a quarter pill, which he's still on every 3 days, to increase his diet. Now, he is a bit overweight. He's 14 pounds, and he's 5 years old.
Okay. So when they did the surgery and they said they saw stool in his colon, did they describe that he was blocked, like constipated, or they just saw some poop and it was no big deal kind of thing?
Well, they said he could have been constipated. They said they found a little bit of hard poop in there, but they did put him on, I mix in his moist once a day, a little bit of Miralax. That's what they told me.
Wonderful stuff. That's such wonderful stuff.
So that's what he's on now, about once a day. He walks around like he's still not feeling quite right.
Okay. And then when they did the exploratory, did they do any kind of biopsies of any sort of the intestines, pancreas, anything like that?
No, they didn't say. They said everything looked good.
Okay. Well, just because sometimes when we have a vomiting situation that's looks bad enough that we suspect there's a blockage, sometimes we do honestly have to go in and look. It's an opportunity, though, to actually take biopsies of the bowel, because there are some things that can cause vomiting that aren't going to look visually kind of jump out at you that we might pick up on a biopsy. Some of those things, inflammatory bowel disease is, it's a problem in cats, just like in people. It can cause ongoing vomiting, diarrhea, weight loss. Some cats just don't eat well with some of these problems. So those kind of things you have to prove by a biopsy. So I don't know, like, with the particulars of your kitty's situation, but those are things that, I like to think of. So it's good that they ruled out the obstruction. The other things I look at with a kitty with, chronic vomiting is I really like to look at diet, deworming, and kind of the environmental things, anything that the kitty might be chewing on, ingesting environmentally, whether it's houseplants, toys, things like that. So for me, if I have a kitty with, bad vomiting, I do like to deworm them, because cats can actually get stomach worms, which they don't actually pass in the stool. You don't see them, and they can get stomach worms from eating little things that run around, like cockroaches, snails, you name it. So that's something that's well worth just a prophylactic deworming, if you will. But, from there, if he's eating and he's picking up with his mirtazapine, the appetite stimulant that they're giving him, then we might see about using a hypoallergenic in a kitty like this. A hypoallergenic diet, which could be used for something like inflammatory bowel disease. And that might be something if he takes to it, you can give it a whirl and see how the vomiting might do after several weeks of being on that kind of diet. But for any kitty that has any kind of constipation, pooping issues, you mentioned Miralax, and I just think this is the most wonderful thing for cats. And if they're constipated, older cats in particular can have a real problem where they only poop every few days. And for me, if I hear that a cat's not pooping regularly, but they're eating well, I do like Miralax, and I can say human use as well. It's a fabulous, fabulous thing. It's a lifesaver. So, I think what your veterinarian is suggesting, all of those things are really sound, good things. And it just might take using some of these other therapies and trying some different things, to see if we can find something that's working for your baby.
Okay.
And does he chew on anything? Has he ingested string, or does he like to eat things like that?
I seen maybe him chewing like on some fuzzies like that was on the carpet. That's the only thing I noticed, because he doesn't go outside. He's strictly an indoor cat. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing I noticed, unless he got a hold of something here that I haven't seen. I try to keep everything out of reach for them as much as possible.
Yeah, and it is so important also that not just eating with a kitty, but, drinking, that we make sure this guy is getting adequate hydration. So making sure he's drinking, and if he's not, then, talk to the veterinarian about, if we need to get some fluids for him so he can, stay fully hydrated, because that'll run a cat down. All that vomiting for several days in a row, it depletes their hydration. Also, sometimes look at electrolyte disturbances that we just have to correct that in addition to the anti-nausea medicines that we typically use. So I hope that goes better for you and for your guy. And he's a young fella, so we want to get this fellow well. You said he's 5 years old?
Yeah, that's the reason I thought, we if he would have been, much older, the vet had said about putting him down, and I said I just didn't feel like I wanted to do that because, he's like one of my favorite cats. I have several, but, and he's a good cat.
Thank you so much for your call. This is Dr. Debbie. I'm your vet friend, looking out for your pet friend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dogfather. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm itching my ass off right now. That's how I'm doing.
Why is that?
Because I got poison ivy, and this is probably the fourth time in my grooming career that I've gotten poison ivy from a dog.
Wow.
So I'm gonna talk about it.
So it wasn't even you playing in the bushes. It was a dog?
No, it was a dog, and it was funny because the woman actually warned me. It was the first time I was warned. She says that the dog was out, and it was out in the woods, and there was a lot of poison ivy, and that was the whole reason why they were bringing the dog in to be groomed, because she had gotten it from the dog before. All right, no problem. I didn't really think too much of it, but just so everyone knows, you can contract poison ivy from your pets. If you are an avid hiker, or you just have it in your backyard, and your dogs, they love to roll around and everything. Now, contrary to belief, dogs do get poison ivy. It's not very common, but some dogs will come down with some irritation and some rash, and it's usually not as bad as as if you got it. There's a couple of things you could do. Number one, and the best thing that I found so far, is a product called Tecnu, Tecnu. It's safe for pets and it's safe for you. Now, what it does, it breaks down the oils that the poison ivy, poison oak actually give off. So it'll break that down. You rinse it away. But a lot of people, you know what? They don't want to wash their pets. So if you don't want to wash your pets, in a pinch, you can use some type of waterless shampoo. Now, matter of fact, the Wall product works very well, too. They're waterless shampoo that you can use as well. And I would definitely take that with me. You know what? Just routinely, before you put your dog back in the car, spray them down, towel them off, and you shouldn't have too much to worry about. If it's a short-haired dog, you know what? You want to be safe. Use the Tecnu, or even dish detergent. Dish detergent works good. I don't recommend using it a lot, only because it's not the greatest product on your dog's coat, but it definitely will help the situation. And then you won't be like me.
It's kind of weird to hear you say that, because you're such a big, tough guy, a soprano type of guy. I got poison ivy today, and I don't know, it just doesn't fit.
Oh, wow, big guys don't get poison ivy? Is that how it works?
I'm going
to come over there and I'm going to rub my arms all over you.
I just thought it would take a little...
nice big kiss and a hug.
I thought it would take a little more than poison ivy to take you down. That's all I was
Poison
saying.
Poison ivy took me down. Put a gun on me, I'm okay. Rub poison ivy on me, I have a problem.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
Don't forget, you can listen to Animal Radio from wherever you are. There's so many ways to listen. Obviously, you can listen at animalradio.com. You can download the Animal Radio app for your iPhone and Android. It is a free download, by the way. People call and saying, is that a free? It is a free download. Can't lose anything from it. Stitcher has us. TuneIn has us. Of course, the radio station that you're listening to us on right now. There's so many ways to listen. You can learn more over at animalradio.com. Hey, Donna. Welcome.
Hey, I just have a question for your vet.
All right, I'm right here. This is Dr. Debbie. What can I help you with?
Yes, I'm trying to find a kitten, from a breeder, and it's down. I'm looking at 3 or 4 different breeds, and basically, my question is, I seem to be getting the attitude from all these breeders. I'll ask them questions about, do they have the kittens have the run of the house? Are they kept in a bedroom, or do you keep them in a cage? And can you take them outside in the yard in the fenced-in area on the grass and maybe shoot a quick video so I can see how they act? And I'm interested in not only a cat that looks the way I would like it to look, but also one that is mentally and emotionally healthy and has been exposed to socialization and different environments, or not just the inside of a house or a bedroom.
I got you.
And I want a confident, happy animal that can cope with its surroundings. If I want to take it at 4 months of age, which breeders insist on keeping the cats until they're that old, and so all the windows of opportunity for socialization and so on are pretty much closed when you get it. And I'll ask these breeders questions about, how the kitten's disposition is, and they won't even bother to answer me. One breeder emailed me well, nobody's ever complained about any of my kittens before. And another one offered me an adult female that she had been breeding that was 3 or 4 years old for $800, $1,000 with shipping. And the only thing I had was a 3 or 4 year old picture that was taken when the cat was a kitten. And I'm wondering if I'm being unreasonable, or or is it just cat breeders?
Yeah. Well, so you're looking at cats that are not in your area, correct? You're looking for cats in other states or something?
Well, yes, because I am looking for kind of a specific looking cat. I'd be happy with 2 or 3 different breeds. It doesn't have to be just one.
You've got some really great thoughts on how you want to select a cat. And you're right. It is important to, number one is personality. Personality, is it the right fit? I don't care what a cat looks like. I want to know if the lifestyle is going to fit with my household. Do you have a very busy, noisy household? Do you have kids? A cat's personality is going to be very important to match that. So you got, the right kitty for the household. Now, what you're doing is you're asking these people to really pre-select the cats for you. And I have to say that, this is really your responsibility. So if you're going to choose to find a cat outside of the city or the state where you're at a disadvantage. You need to be the one to make these decisions, how that cat looks. Now, this is the digital age, and I don't know. It doesn't seem hard to me to make a video of a cat or a dog playing, put that on YouTube, drop it in an email. Heck, I see animals' symptoms all the time by iPhone in my office. So I don't think that would be a strange or an extreme request, but you are trying to screen for personality with you not being even there. So there's going to be some big shortcomings with that approach. So, adopting from a shelter is not a bad idea. You have some on-the-ground experience. You can screen the cats. You can get them young. And I have run into this with breeders where they insist on keeping dogs or cats until they're 4 months of age, 5 months of age even, believe it or not. And you're right. There's a big social window by 4 months of age that we really want to be able to expose kitties and puppies to all these different things in their world. So you're going to be missing out on that opportunity. Not that it means you won't have a good cat in the end, but if you have that opportunity during that age, it would be ideal to expose them to all the sights, sounds, smells, things in your world that they might encounter and that you want them to be chill with. So I don't know. I feel your frustration sometimes when it comes to breeders, and that's kind of this whole movement. Do we need people who just want to breed for that $600 sale? Is that really the right thing for the animal? Are we saving lives? Are we dooming animals so living in kennels to be the breeders for the next generation of purchase pets in this manner? So just be cautious. You're supporting an industry that if you don't get the right feel from those people, you're under no obligation to support them with your dollars. And that's really how this works out. So there's got to be cat breeders out there that fit your needs and your desires for what you're looking for. And I'd have to say that if it means getting in a car and driving or getting on a plane, if I had to pick out a pet that way, I would have my hands on it and I would do everything I could to screen that pet to make sure it had the communication with me, it had that bond, and that it was going to be a good fit personality-wise. So I don't know. I hate to be a breeder basher, but I'd have to say that you've got some challenges with what you're trying to do there, Donna.
Thanks for your call, Donna.
Alan Cable with your Real Dogs Doing Amazing Things watch. You probably didn't know this, but during World War I, pit bulls were revered. They were on all the war posters, and the dog and the Little Rascals as a pit bull. It seems like every decade has its vilified dogs. I remember back in the 70s, I think it was Dobermans, and then in the 80s it was Shepherds, and then in the 90s it was Rottweilers. It's been pit bulls for a long time now. So here's a real
stray pit bull
who did an amazing thing.
The dog was walking down the street in a small Georgia town when a man whipped out a knife while arguing with a woman.
Responding police officers gave the dog the name Hero, and rightfully so.
After he was able to fend off the predator so that the woman could actually escape.
In the process, Hero was stabbed by the guy with the knife
5 times.
Hero's now at a pet adoption agency in Tennessee called Fighting for the Bullies. Some lucky person's going to be able to take him home in just a couple of weeks.
If you're a diabetic, we have great news. You can end the painful finger sticks with a new CGM. Plus, they may be covered by Medicare, Medicaid, or private insurance. If you use insulin or have had hypoglycemic events, you may qualify. Call US Med now to learn more.
800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. 800-434-5019. That's 800-434-5019.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacey Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, police in Canada have raised the bar when it comes to unusual backseat passengers. The CBC says a Royal Canadian mounted police officer picked up a week-old baby moose right along the side of the Trans-Canada Highway near Appleton, Newfoundland. Bonnie Harris of the Gander Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals explained that the little moose was crying out for her mom, but there was no sign of her. So like most people, the orphan animal wasn't eager to get in the back of a police cruiser. I certainly wouldn't be, but she calmed down when she got to the SPCA and gulped down a gallon of milk. Harris says the moose probably wouldn't have survived in the wild on her own, but things are looking up now. Police say a routine traffic stop became anything but for one rookie cop in Texas. He was bitten by a monkey while handing out a ticket. 21-year-old Officer Keith Moore, he wears a camera that's clipped to his sunglasses, and he captured the whole thing in Arkansas Pass on video. When he leaned over to hand the driver the ticket, the monkey jumped out and clamped down on the officer's hand. Turns out the monkey's a trained entertainer who travels with the car's drivers to carnivals. Why didn't he just rip up that ticket? That's what I would have done. Man's best friend now has a place to go if they need a couple of days away from their two-legged companions. There's something called the New Paw Seasons. It's a canine holiday resort in England. It offers dogs a luxurious vacation, comes complete with spa and grooming sessions. They actually get fancy clothes as well, and screenings of dog-friendly films like Lassie and 101 Dalmatians. The pampered dogs even get a private custom-made suite modeled after their owner's home. The actual owners, however, aren't allowed to stay at the resort. Instead, the Paw Season staff keeps them up to speed with Facebook and YouTube updates. Oh, come on. The 2-week package costs, ready for this? You're not going to believe this when I tell you how much it costs. It costs more than $72,000, but that includes a $13,000 donation to Batter Sea Dog's home and cancer research. Okay, well, we'll be right over with that one. The number of chimps in the U.S. government-funded research is going to be reduced under a new set of principles and criteria, according to the National Institute of Health. Francis Collins, who's the director, cited some new methods and technologies that are going to replace chimps. They've used them in experiments for years, but they say ethical considerations are one reason they've decided not to do this anymore. They use about 850 chimps in U.S. laboratories. They're going to reduce that to about 150. Good news for chimps. I'm Stacey Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
I'm Beth Stern on Animal Radio and Adopt from your local shelter.
Check out Animal Radio highlights. All the good stuff without the blah, blah, blah. Browse on over to animalradio.pet.
It's Animal Radio. Many of you lost your internet connection, some cell service last week. Officials have finally identified the culprit behind the 20-hour internet and cell phone outage last week in the central part of our country.
What was it?
It was an eager beaver.
Eager beaver?
That's what it says right here. An eager beaver,
What?
apparently. Hungry beaver chewed through the fiber lines that connected the internet and cell phone service. Over 1,800 internet users were affected by the blackout. They don't know the number of cell phone users that were.
You think somebody would have made sure it wasn't in a beaver's habitat?
Yeah, really.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, they're built. They're
beaver-proof.
Aren't they laying them underground now? Doesn't that open it up to more animals burrowing and getting to them?
I was in the Beaver Scouts as a youngster, and we would have known that. Of course, you remember the Beaver Scouts.
Yeah. Did you damage any lines?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
We had that.
A Beaver Scout.
You weren't a Beaver Scout? Was it only me that was a Beaver Scout?
Actually, Hal, I've never heard of it.
That's not for like a man.
I've never heard of it. I thought you were trying to give yourself some fancy name that really you never had any
No.
membership
There was.
in
We used to do this. I'm a beaver. You're a beaver. We are beavers all. When we get together, we give our beaver call.
I would love to see that.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, let's recover here. We're doing
And
a
then you
radio
flap your
show,
tail.
guys. Yeah.
See, I'm trying to do the segue into the big. Our dogs damaged and destroyed our electronic equipment interview here on Animal Radio. So let's stay focused.
Okay.
Please.
Focus, please.
We have Sandy Robbins joining us. She is a pet specialist for Square Trade Insurance, and this week I got a pet release from them saying that there's been over $3 billion in damaged devices. I don't know if this is over a year, over several years, but I figured I'd get her on the phone. Let's talk about this. Hey, Sandy, how you doing?
Hey, Hal, I'm well. How are you doing?
Oh, splendid. Thank you very much.
Good.
So $3 billion, is that over 1 year, 2 years, 3? How long did it take for these dogs and our animals to really destroy all these devices?
Well, they claim that's in a year, from what I gather. But you think about it. Back in the day, the excuse was for students and businessmen alike. My dog ate my homework, or my dog ate my report. Now it's a case of my dog ate my laptop or peed on my iPad, and I guess there were so many of these stories reaching Square Trade, who are a warranty company, that they started treating it seriously and saying, is this really what is happening out there?
They're doing research. They've done look at this research here, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing. Pages and pages. Like 2/3 of the accidents are caused by the pet putting the item in their mouth. Well, that's a gimme. Ladybug's a chewer. If we left the phone out, she might chew the phone.
Yeah, well, no, not my dog.
Of course, not your dog.
Not your dog till your dog does it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the statistic that stood out in this report. About 1 in 6 cat or dog owners say one of their pets has thrown up or gone to the bathroom on one of their electronics.
Oh.
I'm going to do a poll right here in the studio. Dr. Debbie has your dog
never experienced this, but I am a very strict mom, so I cannot believe. Now, these just have to be people that are letting their dogs run amok. Am I wrong?
Well, you know,
Wait a
I
minute
must
now.
something has happened to me with a cat. In fact, my husband sometimes likes to work on the kitchen counter, and he puts out all his papers and stuff. The cat jumps on and is looking for attention and walks all over the papers and sits on them, as cats do. And on one occasion, he left the phone lying on the counter, and she threw up a hairball, and she aimed directly at the phone.
See, I think they do. You know, well, I haven't had any electronic devices damaged. If I leave my shoes on the floor, the cat vomits the hairball in the shoes.
That doesn't count. Unless it's one of those smart smartphones.
Shoes. Yeah, no, it's not a smart
that's
shoe.
Not an electronic device then.
You know, my problem is the bird. My bird will get a hold of the phone. Absolutely. The phones and remotes. It loves them and destroys them.
I'm looking at the statistics. It says male pets are 50% more likely than female pets to damage your devices. Now, this kind of seems like a weird statistic to me, 50%.
Kind of prejudiced, aren't you? I mean, can you really say that?
I'm not sure whether that's true. I mean, you know, are male dogs or male cats more destructive? I don't really think so. I think pets are sometimes, they're like kids if you think about it. They're destructive because they're bored and they're looking for something to do.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line. It really is the bottom line. If you think about it, you know, if you go to work in the morning and your pet, a cat or dog, is home alone for 8 hours straight, they're bored. So they're going to either chew the furniture, or if you happen to leave the laptop lying out, they may consider having a go at the laptop or the iPad or whatever it is.
Well, it does say there 17% of pet owners believe that their pet damaged the device because their pet was angry with them.
You know, that's one I don't believe. I don't believe that pets demonstrate anger like that, and that's a question for a pet behaviorist, and probably another topic for you. But I actually think it's definitely a boredom issue. Definitely.
Boredom. We should get them out and get them exercise.
Get them exercise. Do you know what the most expensive item that was damaged?
Laptops.
Laptops. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I have a friend who has a cat that removed the number 4 key on her laptop, so she could do everything, but she couldn't type a $sign or a number 4.
Now, Dr. Debbie said that this may be bad behavior at its epitome, I would guess. And then, of course, the survey found that if you let your pet sleep in bed with you or ride in your lap while driving, you're 2 to 3 times more likely to have a pet-related accident.
There you go. Goes back to the owner.
It does. And well, we don't get me on the topic of pets and cars. They have to be restrained. We restrain our children, we restrain our luggage, but we let our pets bounce about. Mm-hmm. And, statistics out there say that a 60-pound dog in a vehicle traveling 35 miles per hour, which is not fast, turns into a 2,700-pound projectile. So that's an accident waiting to happen.
I'm taking my electronics. I'm putting them on high shelves.
Well, the cats can still get them. You need to
what do you
lock
do
them
about
up.
that? Any suggestions?
Yeah, I think you do have to lock them up. Seriously, I wouldn't leave them lying on a counter. I wouldn't leave a phone. It's just a matter, I think, of being cautious. I mean, sometimes the accidents are accidental, but sometimes, they're lying there and they're bored and they think, oh, well, chew toy.
Well, just think if your pet does damage your item, then you get to hang one of those sign of shames and take a picture and put it all over.
On dogshaming.com. Yes. Have you seen this website?
Not fair. There should be an owner-shaming one, too, don't you think?
Sandy, we appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Tell us what your pet has damaged. And if they vomited on your phone or cell phone, let me know. I'd like to know about that, too, because that's the kind of people we are here at Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, this is Paula Poundstone. Wait, I forget where I am.
Animal Radio.
Animal Radio. I love that. All right. Hey, this is Paula Poundstone on Animal Radio. Spay and neuter your pets or we're going to be eaten alive!
Thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing. If you've written a book, they can help you through the process. Cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If they decide to publish your book, your work ends, theirs begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art. Plus, get your book printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, and in bookstores across the country. They even help promote your book. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, or even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. And don't forget to ask about audiobooks. We do all of this for you. Call today for your free writer's guide packed with tips, tricks, and templates to help you finish what you started.
800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. 800-215-6815. That's 800-215-6815.
Hello, this is Dr. Paul on Animal Radio. Take care of the pets and make sure that in these hot days that they get them lots of water and don't tie them outside in the sun because then they get a heat stroke.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
You can also send us via email or via the Animal Radio app your questions for any one of the Dream Team here at Animal Radio. That includes Dr. Debbie, dog trainer Alan Cable, Dogfather Joey Villani, and of course animal communicator Joy Turner. Download the free app now for iPhone and Android. Ask your questions when you have your questions and listen to the show when you have time to listen to the show. It's a free app. Just
can't beat that.
This question came in from the app. Hi, I love your show. Been listening for a while, but I've not heard this topic discussed, so here goes.
Something new?
Yes. Well, not really. Sort of. Maybe for her.
Okay.
She says she has a hip and a hop pack. Boom, boom. A Himalayan flame point cat who recently began an extremely annoying habit. I can't read this small.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, could you read it? I'm sorry. It's so small.
Oh, wow.
You can't read it either.
Okay, I have a Himalayan flame point cat who recently began an extremely annoying habit. I haven't had a man around the house much in the last 3 years, and now I do. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
My cat has taken to meowing very loudly around and on the bed when my guy and I are making whoopee.
Really?
He didn't do this with my former partner, but he was a cat lover. This new guy is not a cat lover. I've told this new guy that he needs to at least pretend he likes the cat and give the cat positive energy, as cats are very emotionally sensitive creatures. I've also sat and visualized and tried to communicate to my cat that he is still the man of the house.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where he lives, and he's safe, and it's his permanent home, yada, yada. Any other advice? It's really annoying, and my guy definitely does not like it at all.
Why is the cat in the bedroom at all?
Wait a minute. Yes. Okay. I cannot keep my trap shut here.
That would freak me out.
This is wrong on the human level here. If your cat's your baby, you wouldn't let your children watch you have sex. So you really should not allow your cat in the bedroom when you're having sex. Just period. It's just not a good idea for many reasons. There can be injuries that I've heard stories of being sustained. So I wouldn't put it past your kitty if it became physical. But no, there's no reason this cat needs to be in the bedroom when she's having private time with her man. That's what a door is for. So I would put the cat outside there.
Yeah.
What?
But I don't think he would work if the cat was looking and meowing. I just don't think the whole thing would work.
I get it. It's a guy thing. Yeah, it wouldn't work out. You lose interest immediately.
It really wouldn't work out. The cat would have to go real quick.
Well, see,
you know how the Flintstones, you put the cat outside.
Yeah,
yes.
But see, you're talking about the guy losing interest and not liking the idea. I'm looking at the woman's point of view. Hey, if my cat doesn't like this guy, something's wrong. Something's wrong with
maybe
this
the cat wants a piece. Maybe the cat just, hey, he hasn't seen us a while. Hey, what's going on here? What about me? Did you ever think of that?
What the sex act physically looks like, and in cat, physical, just communication, that can be upsetting and give some mixed messages.
He's hurting mommy.
Whether they not perceive it as, a sexual thing, that's her human. So I agree with, trying to keep the husband or the boyfriend needs to, treat the cat well, feed it, give it affection. He needs to be the one that does the only feeding in the household. But I really think that, it's we've got to get this cat out of the bedroom.
But
maybe the cat's a voyeur.
Yeah, well, but a cat crying and scratching on the other side of the door is a mood killer.
Yeah, that is a mood killer too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw in the cat perspective here for everybody else.
Oh yes, please.
Okay, this little kitty, I'll tell you, he's got a lot to say about all this stuff, and he uses some words, again, that it surprises me. Animals typically don't use words that are swear words, but he every now and then swears in my head. He thinks that he should be considered in the choice of people for us because he considers his woman and him a team.
Uh-huh.
And he was not considered. He thinks that nobody should come into her life that is not in love with both of them.
Oh, okay.
And he thinks that to him, the guy is kind of like attacking his woman, and he does not like that. He thinks that he shouldn't be doing that because he's not our guy. He may be somebody she likes, but he really thinks she needs to find a guy that is compatible with both of them.
Okay.
Or get rid of the one that's not.
Yeah, see, I take that as a warning sign. Get rid of the guy. If the cat
I'm just saying, shut the door. Shut the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say
it's my decision.
Well, there you go. Boy, we're not really solving any problems today. We're giving you a lot of opinions, though. That is for sure. Remember, you can send us your email at yourvoice@animalradio.com or directly right from the app, the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
You know, I hate being off on Saturdays. I have like 40 projects my wife has me on already today.
The honey to-do list. I love it.
Oh, God. It started at 7:30 this morning. The only time it ended was when I had to come do the show.
Oh, really? So what do you got to do?
Well, I'll tell you what I did so far.
Okay.
I mulched all the beds. I trimmed all the hedges. I actually regrounded the walkway in the back. I got to go when I'm done today. I have to go and I got to put like a barbecue gazebo together. Then I got to hang curtains in her room. Okay, and this is all while she's out at a shower.
Awesome.
That
I love
was the
it.
to-do list.
Wow, you got a lot done. You come over to my place.
I didn't do all of them yet.
Look at how needed you are, Joey.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're so lucky, dude. My wife is so mad.
Lucky. I'll tell you what. Let's switch houses for about a month.
Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, you can get more on your Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android over at the Animal Radio website at animalradio.com. We'll see you next week right here for more Animal Radio. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.